What's up? It's Adam, and today we're going to exercise an option. That's right. I know what you're thinking. Is this guy crazy? Is he lying? Is he clickbaiting? What's going on? Because the title says don't exercise an option or something like that. I haven't posted this yet, obviously. So why are you about to exercise an option, Adam? Why? It's to demonstrate why you shouldn't most of the time. It's to demonstrate how you lose money most of the time. And what that means is I'm going to lose money today. That's right. Your boy is going to lose money for you so you don't make a mistake of exercising when you're not supposed to. So that said, if you have a beating heart deep in that cavernous chest of yours, even if it's barely beating, hit the like button because I'm guaranteed to lose money today. Have mercy. If you learned something, like the video. So we're going to actually exercise an option. I'm going to run through the numbers with you and show you how I end up losing money and what a better alternative would be to exercising your option. So you boys on Robinhood, it's actually a fresh account because when I did a full transfer a while back and they shut down my Robinhood account permanently, and I found out recently I could just apply for a new one. So I did. I opened up a new account. So my all-time chart is looking pretty weird. Anyway, we're going to buy a snap call and we're going to exercise it. So let's go buy one to start with. So I'm looking to lose like between $100 to $200 just so you can visually see it on my all-time chart, or my daily chart at least. So you can visually see the damage it does to exercise an option. We're going to do one that's at the money because at the money options have the most extrinsic value. And as we'll get to in a moment, extrinsic value is a portion of the option that just evaporates when you exercise it. It's a portion of the premium that just disappears. You never get it back. So I'm going to choose one that's at the money, and I'm going to choose one that's a little bit further out in expiration. That'll give it a nice thick layer of extrinsic value, which I will lose when I exercise. So you'll be able to visually see that on the graph. Now, if you're confused already, don't worry, because in a second, we'll get the chalk out, we'll be writing it all out, and we'll be explaining it. So don't worry, your little tiny brain, I'll dumb it down so that a 5-year-old can track what I'm saying. So we're going to buy this 25 strike call, which is in the money by 35 cents. We would never buy and exercise an out of the money option. Just by default, it makes no sense because if you have a strike price that's up here, let's say the strike price is 26 and the snap is currently trading at 25. If you exercise this call option, you're buying 100 shares at $26 and then selling them back at 25. Why would you do that? You're losing $1 per share. You might as well just buy at the current trading price. There's no point in exercising out of the money option. So by default, even though it's still going to end up being dumb to exercise an in the money option, it at least makes some intuitive sense to buy and exercise an in the money option because you're buying those 100 shares at a cheaper price than the current trading price. So that said, let's go ahead and buy the 25 strike call. So we're going to buy one. And just a reminder for you guys, because a lot of people get stumped up on this. When you're buying an option, you want to enter at the middle price in between the bid and the ask or higher to get a quick fill. That's true for any debit strategy. You're going to pay at the mid or higher to get a quick fill, and you're going to sell to close at the mid or lower to get a quick fill. The opposite is true for credit strategies, and that's what really stumps people up. If you have a credit spread, you're selling to open, so you have to sell at the mid or lower to get a quick fill. And when you buy to close the position, you have to enter a buy order at the mid or higher to get a quick fill. Pro tip for you. So we're going to enter an order for $230, which is the mid price. Max cost is $230. It's how much we're paying for it. We're going to end up using a lot more money to exercise, but let's go ahead and buy this option really quick. And notice it doesn't fill, but I'm waiting just a few moments. Is it going to fill? Is it going to fill? Is it going to fill? And I'm like, well, I want in now. I'll replace the order and I'll move the price up. The value of this option has increased as I was placing that order. So we have to increase the price of our limit order in order to get a fill. So $233. Let's just move it up to $233. There we go. See, it actually worked that time. So sometimes you have to chase the option's price. So don't be hesitant to cancel your order, see what the new mid price is, and enter it at the new mid price. Or if the mid price is the same, but you still haven't gotten a fill, maybe pay a few extra bucks for it. Or you could leave it there and hope that the price comes down to you eventually and you do get a fill. It's up to you, but just a little tip on the bid ask for you. Okay, so let's say I'm a total idiot. I have this in the money option. I'm like, dude, I figured it out. I figured out the key to free money. It's to buy in the money options and then just exercise them. How's no one noticed this? You can just buy an in the money option, exercise it, buying 100 shares at the strike price, and then sell them back at the market price. Free money, bitch. So let's go ahead and do that. So to exercise this option, we're gonna go ahead and tap on it. We'll scroll down and you'll see that exercise there on the left, right above stats. So we'll tap on that guy and we'll hit continue. Now, the interesting thing that Robinhood does, and I really appreciate them for doing this, is they double check that you know what you're doing. Like, hey buddy, we kind of know our customer base. So we just want to make sure you're not like the average Robinhood customer, okay? We want to make sure that you know what you're doing. So they ask you, why are you exercising your call? Is it to cover an early assignment? For those of you who trade spreads, you know exactly what covering an early assignment means. That means if you have a spread and your short leg gets assigned, you want to exercise your long leg to mitigate that assignment. And that's a totally reasonable time to exercise, is when you are assigned your short leg of a spread. You definitely want to exercise in that case. The second case where you might want to exercise is if there's not enough liquidity or the spread is really wide, the bid-ask spread. If there's not very high liquidity, like low volume, and the bid-ask spread is really, really wide, you may have trouble selling the option, or you may have to sell it for dirt cheap, and it might be more cost effective just to exercise the option, especially if you're running up into expiration and you still can't get a fill and you can't get a fill and you can't get a fill no matter how low you're setting the sell limit order. Well, then you should probably exercise so you don't risk the entire option expiring worthless. And the last reason Robinhood says you might exercise is to buy stocks. Sometimes this is a good idea, and sometimes, in fact, most of the time, it's a really, really dumb idea. But in this case, let's say we want to own the underlying. We want to own 100 shares of the underlying, so we're going to tap buying stocks. Okay, so Robinhood has asked you why you want to exercise. Now it's asking you again, should you exercise? I appreciate that they do this because when you're a beginner and you're first learning about options, like you've watched my options tutorial, and you're just hearing exercise this, and you exercise when it's in the money, and you exercise here, exercise everywhere. That's because the premium that options consist of is based on the ability to exercise. However, a vast majority of the time, you will not exercise. It just does not make fiscal sense. It is not cost effective. So that's why it's so confusing, and I appreciate that Robinhood double checks you. These are the cases in which you should not exercise. One, if the option is out of the money. Like we discussed, you'd be buying 100 shares at a more expensive price than you could if you just bought them at the current trading price. The second reason is if extrinsic value is too high. Let's cover that really quick. The strike equals 25, and we'll say the current trading price is 25.35, is roughly around there. Okay, so we have a strike, we have the current trading price, and the value of this option that we bought was $2.33 in premium. So we paid $233. This is $2.33 per share of the 100 shares that the option controls. If you remember from an options tutorial, we can divide the premium of an option into two separate categories. There are two things that constitute the premium of an option. The first is whatever we can exercise it for. If we exercise this option, buying 100 shares at 25 and selling them at 25.35, we make 35 cents per share. Should make sense, right? 35 cents per share of 100 shares means we make $35. So just to make sure you're tracking, we buy 100 shares at 25. Okay, so we buy $2,500 worth of shares. And then we sell them back to the market at 25.35. So we sell 25 at 25.35, which equals $2,535 received. So this was paid, this was received. The difference between the two is $35. And if I come back down here to the left, $35 in premiums terms is 35 cents. So the portion of the premium that is based on what you can exercise it for is called intrinsic value. So when we exercise this snap option, this is what we're going to get back, 35 cents. Well, what's left over? Well, 233 minus 35 is 198. So we have $1.98 in premium that's left over. What is that stuff? Well, it's some extra value on top of this two-layer bean dip that is given to the option based on time until expiration and implied volatility. There's more time for it to get deeper in the money, and how deep it can get in the money is dependent on implied volatility, expected volatility. So those two work together to make up this section of the premium. As time goes on, this portion of the premium is going to decay off, and this is what theta affects. So by the time you reach expiration, none of this will be left. It'll be all gone, and all you'll have left is extrinsic value. So this is the portion that decays off, but you don't get this back when you exercise. We ran through the numbers of what you get for when you exercise an option, and that's intrinsic value. Extrinsic value, you don't get that back. So this you don't get back, and this portion of the premium is called extrinsic value. So just to summarize here, when you buy an option, you're paying money for that option, okay? Your money's over there. You don't have that money anymore. You just have the option. When you exercise that option, you get back intrinsic value. You get back the 35 cents. But while you get that 35 cents back, you still, the money you paid is gone. So you only get 35 cents back, even though you paid the full 233. So in essence, you lose extrinsic value, which is 198. So you will always lose extrinsic value. This is why most of the time you wouldn't exercise. Another exception besides if it's part of a spread or if the liquidity is low is if there's a dividend that is greater than the extrinsic value. If you exercise and collect that dividend, it'll make up for the loss of the extrinsic value. Okay, so every time you exercise, you're giving up money that you could have if you just sold it back to the market. Most of the time, it's much more cost effective just to take your option and sell it back to the market. Don't exercise it because you will lose extrinsic value. While if you had just sold it to somebody else, you would keep that extrinsic value. You would sell the whole option for both intrinsic and extrinsic value. Got it? Finger guns. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Out. Okay, so you wouldn't want to do it if extrinsic value is too high, or really you wouldn't want to do it at all. It'd be cheaper just to buy 100 shares at the current stock price. You wouldn't have to give up extrinsic value. Now, the third reason Robinhood gives you why you might not exercise, if it's too expensive. If your account can't handle it, if you don't have the margin, or you just can't handle the leverage of owning 100 shares of the underlying at the strike, then you probably shouldn't exercise. You should just sell the option back to the market. But we're going to do it anyway, so you can just see what happens. All right, so we'll hit continue. So Robinhood is warning me that I'm pretty close to being out of the money. Okay, number one. And then if I hit continue again, it also says that I have high extrinsic value. Now, the price of the option has changed slightly, but you can see our math is somewhat close. I said we had 35 of intrinsic and 198 of extrinsic, which is really, really close to what it shows here. And it's only slightly different because the value of the option has changed slightly since we bought it. But the idea is still the same. It is telling you I'm going to lose $196 of extrinsic value if I exercise. And you might be thinking, well, what if I hold all the stocks and I just wait for it to rise? Well, you might as well just buy at the current trading price so you don't give up $196 first. It's way more cost effective just to buy 100 shares at the current trading price. But we're going to keep going anyway. We'll hit continue. And we want to exercise one contract, which is going to cost our strike price times 100 because we're buying 100 shares at the strike price, and hit review, and we'll send it off. And hit done. Okay, and we're going to immediately sell these 100 shares I have here back to the market. So trade, sell, 100. And now hopefully if we go back to my home screen, you can see how this really sucks. I'm not sure why it doesn't demonstrate it like a vertical line. I was green by roughly $100 today, and then it just pulled the whole chart down. But the idea is still the same. I lost like $190. Okay, so this is exactly why you don't want to do it, because if you exercise your option and you're not exactly specifically sure why you're doing it, and you don't have a good reason to do it, you're just going to lose money. I'm honestly kind of disappointed. I thought it was going to be more dramatic, so that would give a better visual representation of what's happening. But hopefully you get the idea. Don't exercise most of the time. So I'm actually really excited to have this Robinhood account back, because we are going to go over some theta gang strats. And I'm talking about cash secured puts, covered calls, which I've already done, but we'll go into more detail on how to handle those kind of positions and roll positions and that kind of thing. And then we're going to build those two together into the wheel, describing and actually trading the wheel strategy. So obviously, if you guys want to keep up with that and you're new here, you know where the subscribe button is. Okay, don't take anything I say as advice. I'm only an educator. I'm not a financial professional, all that jazz, okay? I wash my hands of any gains or losses you guys incur, both through this video and other videos. None of my content anywhere on my channel or anywhere else is meant to be financial advice. It is all for educational purposes and for your viewing pleasure. I do not recommend that you follow or replicate any of my trades or any of my strategies. Got it? So you guys want to see more Robinhood content in the near future? I'm back at it, baby. I got a new account. It's going to be lit. I'm super stoked. There's a deer. Can you see it? It's just chilling on the road. What's up, dude? Should we go say hi? How's it going? What? What's the deer going to do? Oh! There he goes. Look at him go.